rising by tide, and ambitions are low, and resentment rides high, but emotions won't grow, and we're changing our ways, taking different roads. Love will tear us apart again. Love will tear us apart again. Why is the bedroom so cold? You turn away on your side. Is my timing not flawed? Our respect runs so dry. Yet there's stillness and feel that we've kept you alive. Love will tear us apart again. Love will tear us apart again. Cry out in your sleep, all my failings exposed. There's a taste in my mouth as desperation takes hold. Just that something so good just can't function no more. Love will tear us apart again. 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 Check out Sonata Like Immersions or subscribe to be the first to see them every week.
only meant to make it. Every day's a brand new episode on the Clover Show.
What up, what up, what up, what up? What up, Twitch? What up, Cosmic? What up, Stampy? What up, bots? What up, lurkers? What up, tiny people in my chatterino that I do not have open, and I now have open? It's your boy. Little morning snack time. Little snackosaurus. Little morning snack time. Hi. You want to run the show today? All right. Ugh. Let's do the news. Let's do the news. All right, up first. OpenAI says it can't supply as much AI as people want, so it's making a change. OpenAI is scrapping its plans to restructure into a for profit business as it struggles to keep up with demand for its AI services. In a letter Monday announcing OpenAI's plan to stay under control of a nonprofit organization, Chief Executive Sam Altman said the companies currently cannot supply nearly as much AI as the world wants and has had to put limits on its systems as well as slow down its services. Nice, Cosmic. We had no idea this was going to be the state of the world when we launched our research lab almost a decade ago. But now that we see this picture, we are thrilled. After consulting civic leaders in the offices of the Delaware and California Attorneys General, OpenAI Chairman Bret Taylor said the board of directors decided to keep OpenAI under the control of a nonprofit while the company's for-profit subsidiary will turn into a public benefit corporation, or PBC, a purpose-driven company structure that has to consider the interests of both shareholders and the mission. The nonprofit will have control over the PBC as well as serve as a large shareholder, which will give the nonprofit better resources to support many benefits. OpenAI's for profit plans were controversial, drawing the ire of some OpenAI employees, as well as prominent figures, including Geoffrey Hinton, known as the godfather of AI. In an April tweet, he said OpenAI was right that this technology merits strong structures and incentives to ensure it is developed safely, and is wrong now in attempting to change these structures and incentives. Elon Musk has opinions, and I don't care. Other AI companies also depend on PVCs, Altman said in his letter, including Anthropic and xAI. Instead of our current complex capped profit structure, which made sense when it looked like there might be one dominant AGI effort, but doesn't in a world of many great AGI companies, we are moving to a normal capital structure where everyone has stock. What up, trans women? The OpenAI leader said the company has 3 goals under the updated structure, including being able to operate and get resources in such a way that we can make our services broadly available to all of humanity. That task, Altman said, takes hundreds of billions of dollars and may eventually require trillions of dollars. The new structure is the best way for us to fulfill our mission and to get people to create massive benefits for each other with these new tools. OpenAI also aims to be the largest and most effective nonprofit in history, using AI to help people, Altman said, and wants to develop beneficial AGI, which is the point at which AI will be believed to have reached human level ability. So we shall see. We shall see. But it looks like the plan to turn into a for-profit business. I'm glad you're alive, Reed. The plan to transform into a for-profit business is out the door, which should probably satisfy people, and then we'll see. We'll see about the rest. Holy shit. What up, Michael? What up, Bebop Boop Boop? Isn't DeepSeek eating their lunch? Not really. What did you miss? You missed Stampy getting snacks and OpenAI not turning into a for-profit company. DeepSeek does offer a bunch of benefits. It's a great tool. It's open source, etc., etc. But it's not something that, like, companies are going to be able to use because of concerns about data, right? Data going back to China rather than data staying in the United States. Now, however you feel about that is valid. I'm just saying that that's why DeepSeek isn't eating their lunch. And you can't rest on your laurels, right? Gwen is supposed to be very good. DeepSeek is very good. I would say, in my opinion, that overall, Gemini is better than either of those, and depending on your utility. Yeah, I don't want to go so far as to say it's the best right now, but you're probably right, Old Lobster. It's very useful for me. What up, Rusty Tang? Versus Llama, yeah. Why wouldn't communities be able to use it? No, not communities, companies. Running it locally, maybe they can do something like that. I'm just talking about like my estimation as to why it hasn't been adopted. It also could be something where, like OpenAI is offering, particular package deals to companies, and it's what up, Pharaoh. It's also a thing where um people are homers, right? And Buy American is in right now. is in vogue. So, yeah, I'm a paid customer of Gemini, and I'm satisfied. Yeah, no, I got you. Um, Also, Michael Farrow. Anybody else? Old Lobster. Um, who's playing the Mushroom Game? Um, there is a clan, a family, I guess they call it, in the Mushroom Game, and it's Globus. If you search Globus in the family section, you'll find the group that Kensai set up. En Vogue is French. No, En Vogue is American. They were a great little singing group. By the way, if you're a student, you can get a discount if you have a .edu email address for Gemini Google One through June. Yes, yes. There's that. There's also you can get free Chat GPT until the end, or discounted. I believe it's free until the end of the finals. So like same kind of thing, June, maybe July. Because everybody wants, to get in on that market as well. You know, I don't know if it's for high school folks. I know it's for college folks. So your mileage may vary. Unexpected insert. Why Palantir's stock is falling even though its earnings were on fire. The software company, that is definitely a way that you can describe them. Upbeat results were already priced into the stock, and growth could slow from here. And they were down, okay, they're only down 11.89% now. They were down 12 something when I just opened it up. Palantir Technology Inc. stock is falling more than 13% on Tuesday, despite the company's solid first quarter. Palantir is on fire, said Alex Karp. Stock market is a discounting mechanism, which means all that greatness is already priced into Palantir's stock. Veteran stock trader Mark Minervini told MarketWatch. And looking ahead, analysts tracked by FactSet expect the company's growth rate on adjusted earnings per share to slow from 62.5% to 46.1% in June and 38% in September. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. We can look at that real quick. I just used VO2 today. Um So I did. I attempted to get it to take a picture of me and do the DJ thing out of it, and like I'm still in the. I got to work on my prompt to try and get more accurate. The fact that the crowd is facing the wrong direction um, is a thing, but beyond that, this looks great. Right number of fingers. Hands look like they're doing something relevant. There could be a little bit of mushiness in there right at the beginning when his hands go down, right? A little fuzziness, but that's about it. Looks great. And this is the second attempt where I asked it to put in a black hat. Also, really good. And the prompt said something about 4K, so Vio figured if you put 4K on the screen, then it must be 4K, right? But, you know, ring looks good, watch band looks great. I do wear these kind of little Jim Jams, right? So it did well. It did well. And then I attempted to get it to do a Robotech style transformation in stop motion. It did the stop motion pretty well. It did not do the Veritech very well. Right? Definitely more of like a 90s transformer. I did not You can't use a start image with Vio. So that's part of the issue, right? I need a description. And then there's this. A hand comes in for some reason. And then it looks like he gets mad because he puts the nose down and then he's like, fuck you. And then I tried again with the same prompt. And then I reached my limit for today. So I can bust out 5 videos now that I know. What up, Larry? I can bust out 5 videos in a day. But again, the quality of this, right? The actual visual quality is first rate. Like that does look like a toy in stop motion. Right? I have no issue there. Definitely stuff you can work with, right? Kind of a robot chicken vibe. All right. Get back to the news. California advances bill to end net metering, break solar contracts. We've been covering the California's relationship with solar and net metering for some time. What up, Hydron? The California State Assembly Utility and Energy Committee has voted 10-4 to pass an amended version of Assembly Bill 942, which seeks to cut compensation rates for existing rooftop solar customers that send electricity to the grid. It's a terrible idea. The bill requires homes with rooftop solar that are sold or transferred to be shifted off their net energy metering plans, reducing the expected bill savings from the system. Also, a terrible idea, makes it more difficult to, it's not a selling point, right? Which is something that if you're attempting to sell a house, um, you know, every selling point is a good one. And it also decreases the likelihood of more people installing solar onto their house. AB 942, as originally proposed, sought to sunset net energy metering for homeowners who installed solar under the NEM 1.0 and 2.0 rate plans within a 10-year window. The bill would have forced customers onto NEM 3.0, which pays about 80% less for electricity sent to the grid, making solar investments less financially viable. Because the electricity that comes off your rooftop is like lower quality or something. Oh, wait. It's the exact same kind of electricity? Huh. I wonder why they want to pay them less for it. Brad Heavner, executive director of the California Solar and Storage Association, said the bill breaks contractual promises with millions of solar users. What up, Minute? Exactly. An average rooftop solar customer would face an electricity bill increase of about $63 per month after selling or transferring their home, potentially complicating real estate transactions. Lisa Calderon, an assembly member, filed the bill. Calderon previously spent 25 years in government affairs and political compliance with Southern California Edison, one of the state's investor owned utilities. AB 942 backers claim it is intended to lower energy rates, but it is actually designed to protect utility profits. The real reason electricity rates keep skyrocketing in California is out of control utility spending on transmission infrastructure. I don't know about that, but either way, the California Public Utilities Commission reports that the state's three largest electric utilities, PG&E, SCE, and SDGE, have raised customer rates by 110%, 90%, and 82%, respectively, over the last decade. Despite relatively flat electricity usage, utilities transmission and distribution spending has increased by 300%. For-profit utilities get a lucrative guaranteed profit return on infrastructure spending, which provides an ongoing motive to keep spending more. Rooftop solar was estimated to save all California ratepayers, including non-solar customers, $1.5 billion in 2024 alone. However, it competes directly with the profit model of the state's largest investor-owned utilities, which has made it a target for regulatory criticism. Not sure people will be eager to install solar panels anyway. Doesn't having solar make it harder to get homeowners insurance? I don't know. That's going to depend on your insurance company and everything else. Someone is going to come up with an inexpensive, clean home energy generation that's so reliable common consumers can cut out big power altogether. And then that someone is going to get assassinated. I doubt they'll get assassinated. They'll they'll offer them enough money that the person will take it. You know what I mean? Why assassinate people when you can just buy them? Well, that's a separate issue related to, like, that person couldn't be bought, right? That person was a whistleblower, and also that never happened. In it, something else happened. There was, anyways. Modular hexagon wheel robots transform tight warehouse spaces into smart sorting zones. Hexagonal cells with 360-degree omni wheels enable smooth, collision-free movements in even the tightest warehouse spaces. An innovation developed by a German logistics firm reshapes how goods are sorted and moved. Cellumation's Celluvayor system features a modular design built from small hexagonal cells equipped with omnidirectional wheels, allowing packages to move precisely in any direction. Compact and agile, the system's space-saving triangular-like structure makes it ideal for complex routing and sorting in tight warehouse environments, offering a flexible alternative to traditional conveyor belts. Now, supply chain automation firm Daifuku has partnered with Cellumation to integrate the Celluvayor into its robotic depalletization system, where packages are efficiently removed from pallets and directed for further processing or delivery. Cellumation's innovative Celluvayor system transforms material handling with its unique modular design and AI-powered precision. We got a little video. Show me your Celluvayor. That's neat.
What fascinates me about the Celluvayor, its ability to
Yeah. So here's a big robot taking an entire layer off the pallet, dropping it here on this conveyor. This conveyor is going to roll it onto this, and this should send it off in its particular ways.
be able to orient all the products without knowing the dimensions of the products. It's also amazing how you can see the products glide on the Celluvayor and how each product is able to find the right path to the outbound conveyor.
That was cool. That was cool. I'll throw that into the AI folder, and we'll watch that on Wednesday evening. Beep beep. Who got the keys to the Jeep? A 3D camera-based vision system continually tracks every object's height, size, and position above the surface. Like autonomous cars negotiating highways, this data feeds into sophisticated algorithms that determine the best routes in real time. As a result, there's no need for downstream changes because the objects at exit are perfectly aligned and oriented. It's cool. Disney uses similar design for some of their green screen shots so that they can film entire walking scenes in a small area. Nice. Yeah, I mean, and again, logistics matters no matter if you are, what your political leanings are. Logistics is how we do everything that we will do. Whatever it is, that's logistics. And further, the robots are coming for your gerbs. Robots make burger at U.S. restaurant, serve meals in 27 seconds to boost fast food prep. Right? The previous one that we saw, like we've seen the fryer bot, where it would do the French fries, and we've seen Flippy, the burger flipping robot. Now it looks like it's actually able to make the entire burger. A new restaurant concept in Los Gatos, California, is using robots to precisely and quickly assemble meals. The restaurant, unveiled by ABB Robotics and Burger Bots, uses ABB's IRB 360 Flex Picker and Yumi collaborative robot. Robots work together in a self contained burger making cell to deliver made to order meals, assembling them with precision and speed. From real time ingredient tracking to flawless topping placement, this robotic cell could change the way people think about fast food. The compact robotic cell is a food automation first, seamlessly integrating two types of robots with an intelligent inventory monitoring system. As each order is received, a freshly cooked burger patty is placed onto a bun inside a burger box. The company revealed that this box is then positioned on a conveyor shuttle, which is tagged with a QR code. As it moves along the conveyor, the IRB 360 Flex Picker hygienically performs high speed topping selection, guided by the data stored in the QR code. So that's this right here. Next, the Yumi steps in to collaborate on the final assembly of the burger. The entire process takes just 27 seconds per burger. ABB's robot controller also integrates seamlessly with non-robotic systems, enabling real-time ingredient inventory tracking, onions, tomatoes, lettuce, and condiments, ensuring smooth operations and efficient kitchen management. Integrating ABB robots with the BurgerBots restaurant concept demonstrates the incredible potential for automation beyond the factory floor. Let's take a look.
BurgerBots is a food assembling machine that assembles burgers. It's here for consistency, transparency, and efficiency in the world of food. I wanted to take away the task that has the most turnover.
$18 $18 for the burger. Jesus Christ. What up, beef? I just can't. Like, sure. I ain't. This is why I choose midnight or minute to eat at the local diner known as my house. I cannot.
I wanted to take away the task that has the most turnover, the jobs that people don't want to do. We're here to elevate the restaurant force.
Oh, look at that. So that's it. Okay. So they take the top and the bottom off the tomatoes so they'll stack up nicely. And same with the onions, and then they have the onions. And then there's this tube of lettuce.
We're here to elevate the restaurant force.
BurgerBots shows what's possible when ABB's robotics innovation steps out of the factory and into the kitchen. Our robots are bringing industrial precision, speed, hygiene, and reliability to one of the most exciting, fast-moving industries out there.
Definitely interesting. I think it's going to really transform the food industry. I was completely amazed by the complexity of the whole thing.
The combination of the human hand and the robot hand together, just spectacular.
There's a predictability of knowing that.
Okay, so in this place, it looks like there are still humans doing many of the tasks, right? Like, it looks like the robots or the humans are cooking the burgers and setting up the trays, and the robots are handling the assembly. But you can see, based on Flippy and the Frybot and this, that we are we are headed in a direction of fully automated burger bots.
This is going to be precise every single time.
BurgerBot essentially does all of the jobs that you don't want to do. It's really quick, really efficient, and yeah, it's as simple as dropping off a patty and letting it do its thing.
The message from the restaurant industry was clear. Robots bring speed and efficiency and can also help them overcome labor shortages and recruitment gaps. In fact, when we asked the industry, 89% of hospitality managers and 73% of workers were open to the idea of introducing robotics into their business. But the real surprise? Many saw robots as a way to spend even more time with customers. By taking care of the repetitive work, they let people focus on what really matters. That's the magic of hospitality: a great food, a great service, and unforgettable moments.
I think this is just the beginning. As labor challenges continues and consumer expectations around speed and consistency grows, robotics will become less of a novelty and more of a necessity.
True. Yes, and that's that is the next place that they would be looking to automate Cosmic. Like right now, yeah, you're still looking at having humans, fill those, like the lettuce tube and the onions and tomatoes. So that's it. I don't want them hanging around more when I'm trying to eat and have a conversation with the people out there. I feel you. Yes, humans fill the tube now. There was a comedian that I was watching, the short, and he was talking about when you're looking for the place that you want to go to eat, you don't want that 5-star whatever. You want that 4.1, 4.2, where all the customer complaints are about the attitude of the servers, right? Like that, right? Because that food is amazing. And that's what I want. I don't need a friendly engagement. I don't need a dining experience. I need good food at a reasonable price. Oh yeah, yeah. I've seen the pizza where it makes a pizza right there, and it's spinning the pizza and then it does the whole thing. A recent survey commissioned by ABB Robotics found that 67% of hospitality workers agreed that robotics and automation should be used to reduce the amount of dull, dirty, and dangerous work humans are doing in the hospitality industry. While 63% agreed that the idea of robotics making their job easier is exciting, 65% agreed that they would welcome robots in their workplace if it meant a safer work environment. It's going to be interesting. Who remembers the metaverse? Remember the metaverse? You do VR office jobs? The dream of the metaverse is dying. Manufacturing is keeping it alive. Let's check on the Archive today. How are you doing, Archive? Hey. Forget Mark Zuckerberg's vision of VR meetings. The industrial metaverse bridges digital and physical worlds in a way that's actually useful. It used to be that when BMW would refit a factory to build a new car, the only way the automaker could check if the chassis would fit through the production line was to fly a team out and physically push the body through the process, making notes of any snags. Now, process engineers can simply run a simulation, sending a 3D model of a car through a near identical digital twin of the factory. Any mistakes are spotted before the production line is built, saving time and money. Such is the power of the industrial metaverse. Forget sending your avatar to virtual meetings with remote colleagues or poker nights with distant friends, as Mark Zuckerberg envisioned in 2021 when he changed Facebook name to Meta. Metaverse idea has found its killer app in manufacturing. While the consumer version of the metaverse has stumbled, the industrial metaverse is expected to be worth $100 billion globally by 2030, according to World Economic Forum. In this context, the concept of the metaverse refers to a convergence of technologies including simulations, sensors, augmented reality, and 3D standards. Varvin Aryasetas, Deloitte's AI strategy and innovation practice leader for the UK, prefers to describe it as spatial computing. It's about bridging the physical world with the digital world. This can include training in virtual reality, digital product design, and virtual simulations of physical spaces such as factories. In 2022, NVIDIA, the game's graphics company that now powers AI with its GPUs, unveiled Omniverse, a set of tools for building simulations, running digital twins, and powering automation. It acts as a platform for the industrial metaverse. This is a general technology. It can be used for all kinds of things. I mean, representing the real world inside of a computer simulation is just very useful for a lot of things, but it's absolutely essential for building any system that has autonomy in it. Home improvement chain Lowe's uses the platform to test new layouts in digital twins before building them in its physical stores. Zaha Hadid Architects creates virtual models of its projects for remote collaboration. Amazon simulates warehouses to train virtual robots before letting real ones join the floor. And BMW has built virtual models for all its sites, including its newest factory in Debrecen, Hungary, which was planned and tested virtually before construction. To simulate its entire manufacturing process, BMW filled its virtual factories with 3D models of its cars, equipment, and even people. Created these elements in an open source file format originated by Pixar called Universal Scene Description, OpenUSD, with Omniverse providing the technical foundation for the virtual models and BMW creating its own software layers on top. You imagine a factory that would take up half an hour to walk from one side to the other side. You can imagine it's also quite a large model. Hence, turning to a gaming company for the technology, they know how to render scenes you can run through. Early versions of the virtual factory even had gaming style WASD keyboard navigation, but this was dropped in favor of click-based interface akin to exploring Google Street View in a browser. BMW also uses Omniverse for collaboration on car design and customization visualizations for customers, but a key benefit is being able to model production lines. New cars mean a new assembly process, but refitting a factory is a daunting process. Previously, key information was held in silos. Production crews understood details of the assembly process, external suppliers had specs of new parts or machinery, architects had detailed building plans, and costs would pile up for every delay or mistake. The later you find a problem, the worse it is. Now, problems are worked out virtually with a central location for standardized data to be held. There's still a critical human element. Mapping a facility requires sending a laser scanner strapped to a person running through a factory to capture point cloud data about how everything is arranged. Design engineers also need to create a 3D model of every stage of a car as it's assembled. This level of detail allows BMW to virtually test the assembly process, complete with simulation of robotics, machines, and even human workers, as BMW is data tracking how long it takes employees to assemble a part. BMW is working with Figure. Yeah, Figure 02, which is the Helix system, right? But yeah, no, your jobs are fine. Jobs are fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Go back to sleep. You can optimize first and gain a lot of efficiency in the first production. And in the construction phase, you have fewer mistakes. It's less error prone. I mean, all those hours you spent playing Factorio finally paid off. Yeah. Yeah, and the idea that they're having a human being do it minute doesn't make sense to me. Why wouldn't you have Spot do it, right? Or something like that. Have the robot or the drone go through the factory and do the laser scanning. So Google wants to send people to trade school. Investing in workforce, energy infrastructure, and the policies needed to power the AI opportunity. AI presents the United States with a generational opportunity for extraordinary innovation and growth. The deployment of AI will grow the American economy, create jobs, accelerate scientific advancements, and more. Fully realizing these opportunities requires an effort to rapidly increase the capacity of the nation's existing, sometimes antiquated, energy system. This in turn requires accelerating innovation and investment in advanced energy technologies, optimizing use of the existing grid, and unlocking construction of new transmission infrastructure and developing the labor force needed to build new energy infrastructure. Today, in a new paper titled Powering a New Era of American Innovation, we're sharing 15 policy opportunities. Many of these proposals have been incubating in policy circles for some time, reach across a broad base of stakeholders, and are drawn from the broader discussion of policy options. By unlocking advanced electricity resources and grid infrastructure, the United States would enable all sources of electricity to contribute to a more reliable and affordable energy future. They now require constructive public and private collaboration to advance. Beyond Google's commitment to equip 1 million Americans with AI skills through the AI Opportunity Fund, there is demand for trade skills that can construct electrical infrastructure. In particular, a shortage of electrical workers may constrain America's ability to build infrastructure needed to support AI, advanced manufacturing, and a shift to clean energy. Building upon years of delivering digital workforce development programs to people across the country, today Google is announcing support for an effort to train 100,000 electrical workers and 30,000 new apprentices in the United States. With funding from Google.org to the Electrical Training Alliance, an organization created by the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers and the National Electrical Contractors Association, ETA will integrate AI tools into its curriculum and boost the number of apprentices nationally. It will also provide apprentices with access to Google's AI Essentials course to master AI skills. So yeah. $200 billion to build a data center. Soaring AI demand means costs could skyrocket within a few years. Surging AI-related infrastructure demands mean data centers could soon cost as much as $200 billion to build, according to a recent study, with most owned privately rather than by governments. Research by Epoch AI tracing the computing powering AI by analyzing 500 systems shows that AI supercomputers, Epoch's phrase for AI data centers or GPU clusters, are doubling in performance every 9 months thanks to improvements in chips. Two key factors drove this growth: a yearly 1.6x increase in chip quantity and a yearly 1.6x improvement in performance per chip. While systems with more than 10,000 chips were rare in 2019, several companies deployed AI supercomputers more than 10 times that size in 2024, such as xAI's Colossus with 200,000 AI chips. While computational performance is up 2.5 times per year, power requirements and hardware costs are also doubling annually. Epoch said hardware costs were up by 1.9 times each year, while power needs were doubling annually. That's said the same thing twice. Nicole, are you AI? For example, xAI's Colossus costs $7 billion to build and uses 300 megawatts of power. On the upside, these systems are becoming more efficient, with computational performance per watt increasing by 1.34 times annually. If the observed trend continues, the leading AI supercomputer in June 2030 will need 2 million AI chips, cost $200 billion, and require 9 gigawatts of power. Really? I'm just like, 7 billion to 200 billion, that's a big jump, but 300 megawatts, to 9 gigawatts. That makes much more sense. Yes, it's another example of how Elon watched something engaged with media and completely misunderstood what was happening. Yeah, why would they share, Minute? Why would you share when you could just not share, right? Like, well, if you don't want to share with us, we don't want to share with you. Little exceptionalism. Where was I? Where did we go? Where do we go now? To overcome power constraints, companies may increasingly use decentralized training approaches, which would allow them to distribute a training run across AI supercomputers in several locations. The research highlights two key concerns for AI developers. First, the cost of infrastructure, with critics and some investors suggesting too much is being spent. Earlier this year, Microsoft said it may take 15 years to see a return on investment for its AI spending, and Anthropic's CEO has said it may one day cost $100 billion to build an AI model. Second, such systems come with high energy demands that existing power infrastructure may not be able to keep up with. On both sides of the Atlantic, concerns have been raised over the ability for grid networks to keep pace with demand as AI adoption continues to accelerate. Last year, the CEO of UK's National Grid suggested an overhaul of the country's grid network could be required to accommodate data center infrastructure growth in years to come. And this is why, like, if these numbers are correct, right? If today for a 200K cluster, right, 200,000 AI chips costs $7 billion, and in 2030 it could cost $200 billion, then these people who are saying too much is being spent are wrong. Because it's cheaper now. Later it will be more expensive. Now, the question is the chips themselves. Obviously, the chips are going to expire as far as capability. New, better chips are going to come out. So what they need to be able to do from the point of view of the data center is be able to swap out those chips in an efficient way, right? And then those chips need to either be repurposed if possible or recycled if necessary. Yeah, did you see the article? We covered this yesterday, Minute. Beep, 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 beep. There it is. Where did we go? No, not photonics. This one. It's literally what you just said. What up, though? What up, though? How you doing, Chrysanthemum? I hope you're having a wonderful morning. We covered this yesterday. This is exactly what you're talking about with the bismuth oxyselenide and bismuth selenite oxide. And apparently some Chinese folks have made it work, and it's 40% faster and uses less power. So yeah, we having fun? Where was I? Sunny day. Oh yeah, $200 billion. China is so behind. China is so behind. Where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go? Why you don't make noise? Wait, fix your website, dude. Why doesn't this work? Why is there not sound? All right, fuck it. Now I'm mad. Yeah. When it comes to Gemini and ChatGPT, I mostly switch to ChatGPT for article overviews. For some reason, when I use Google's latest model, 2.5 Pro or 2.5 Flash, I often run into messages like I couldn't do this because my tools aren't functioning properly. Until those issues are worked out, ChatGPT has been the more reliable option. And that's what it's going to come down to. You got to try them out and you got to find out what works for you. The differences, broadly speaking, between any of the top tier models are marginal. There are certain aspects where they are better at specific things, in which case, like, the 3.7 Claude 3.7 was the best coder. Now it might be Claude or it might be Gemini 2.5, but does it matter to you, right? If it can code well. If it doesn't matter to you, then that's not a relevant data point. You know what I mean? So yeah, I always recommend people just try them out and find the one that works right for you. I was reading up on this a few weeks ago. A friend and I used the Claude research model to do a comparative analysis of gallium nitride and bismuth oxyselenide. Yeah, no, it's cool. I've been watching the progress of these new light processing chips that are on their way. They are 1,000 times faster and much cheaper to produce. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. Cause Twitch, indeed, cause Twitch. What up, girl? Welcome in. Good morning. Good morning. All right, let's talk some copyright real quick. Judge in Meta case warns AI could obliterate market for original works. Yes, it could obliterate the market for original. A skeptical federal judge in San Francisco on Thursday questioned Meta Platforms' argument that it can legally use copyrighted works without permission to train its artificial intelligence models. In the first court hearing on a key question for the AI industry, U.S. District Judge Vince Chabria grilled lawyers for both sides over Meta's request for a ruling that it made fair use of books by the people who are suing them. You have companies using copyright protected material to create a product that is capable of producing an infinite number of competing products. Chabria told Meta's attorneys, you are dramatically changing, you might even say obliterating, the market for that personal work, and you're saying that you don't even have to pay a license to that person. I just don't understand how that can be fair use. I mean, that's not That's not relevant. Whatever. They're going to. The fair use question hangs over lawsuits brought by authors, news outlets, and other copyright owners against companies including Meta, OpenAI, and Anthropic. The legal doctrine allows for the use of copyrighted work without copyright owners' permission under some circumstances. Authors of the Meta case sued in 2023, arguing the company used pirated versions of their books to train Llama without permission or compensation. This is if like there's a bunch of missing information here with the skeptical judge. Let me read a little more first. Technology companies have said that being forced to pay copyright holders for their content could hamstring the burgeoning multi-billion-dollar AI industry. Defendants say their AI systems make fair use. Yeah, I don't give a shit if paying them would be a problem. It's a poor argument. I'm saying it's fair use to use the copyrighted works to train the models and to create new transformative content. Plaintiffs counter that AI companies unlawfully copy their work to generate competing content that threatens their livelihoods. Chabria on Thursday acknowledged that Meta's use may have been transformative, but said it still may not have been fair. It seems like a highly unusual case in the sense that though the copying is for a highly transformative purpose, in which case it's fair use, and that should be the end of it, the copying has a high likelihood of leading to the flooding of the markets for the copyrighted works. Meta attorney Canon Shanmugam said copyright owners are not entitled to protection from competition in the marketplace of ideas. But if I'm going to steal things from the marketplace of ideas, nothing was stolen, in order to develop my own ideas, that's copyright infringement, right? Not if it's transformative, right? Do I have to document all the things that provided me with inspiration when I create a new thing? Chabria also told the plaintiff's attorney, David Boies, that the lawsuit may not have adequately addressed the potential market impacts of Meta's conduct. I think it is taken away by fair use unless plaintiff can show that the market for their actual copyrighted work is going to be dramatically affected. Okay, so maybe he's just doing devil's advocate back and forth. I think it's going to be taken away by fair use unless a plaintiff can show that the market for the actual copyrighted work is going to be dramatically affected. So he put it back on the plaintiffs. And we're still there. Okay, better. Chabria prodded Boies for evidence that Llama's creations would affect the market for the author's book specifically. It seems like you're asking me to speculate that the market for Sarah Silverman's memoir will be affected by billions of things that Llama will ultimately be capable of producing. And it's just not obvious to me that that's the case. All right. I retract my earlier, I really thought Homie was going hard at the thing. And it was going to lead us into a situation where. So, my biggest concern about this, right, leaving aside my personal opinions about copyright and IP and all that other stuff, is that if this happens, it's not going to stop large companies like Meta and OpenAI and Google and like that. They'll be able to make licensing agreements with the the companies like Random House, right? The companies that make the books. Again, this has nothing to do, like Sarah Silverman can say whatever she wants, but this has nothing to do with Sarah Silverman and everything to do with Random House, right? It's the companies, in the same way that it has not, the music stuff has nothing to do with Taylor Swift and everything to do with Warner Music, right? That's where the publishers, that's where the money is. That's where the big money is. If you, little human being, get a little bit of a pittance, doesn't matter to anyone. It's a side effect. And my concern is that should they rule against the idea of fair use for the training of these models, the big companies will be able to negotiate those deals and continue to make the AI, and the open source shit, that's over. I can't say, okay, that may be a little dramatic. It's never over because people will figure out ways to do stuff because we're human monkeys and that's what we do. But it would definitely throw it like way back, right? Because then we're talking about creating all new data sets from the ground up. And where do you even get that? Absolutely, homie. Absolutely. Project Gutenberg, to an extent, sure. But, you know, there's what's the volume of open source material and how much of Project Gutenberg is actually copyrighted but was ruled fair use in that case, right? So a chunk of whatever's in Project Gutenberg is public domain. It's ours, right? So we're not worried about that. It's the amount of books that are contained in Project Gutenberg and any other ones of that nature that have been ruled fair use. And it's fair use to make a copy of it for utility on the internet, but it would not be to use it for AI training if this ruling went in that way. So then, however much that is more out of the data set. So all you have is whatever's in public domain. And then that means that you're dealing with a much smaller data set, which means that you're going to have significantly less good models. You know what I mean? In the public domain, in the open source area, right? Money, Microsoft, Google, they'll be fine. The best aligned and functional AI may come from a large open source project that becomes popular. Yeah, no, I would agree, but it's like, what I don't want is for us to end up with a situation where, like, what up, Robotech? Like, fucking GitHubs are getting DMCA'd because the data sets contain, books that were under copyright, so we can't make open source. That kind of thing, right? If we don't have open source, then, like, that is your relatively worst case scenario. That is all AI under the auspices of the corporations and none AI under our ability to do stuff with it. If you think that's a good thing, then cool. Cool. Who am I to tell you? Copyright alone, you move that, thank you. Copyright alone cannot protect the future of creative work, according to the Brookings Institute. It might seem that we have seen this movie before. New tech companies seek to build their products on the backs of existing copyright owners, taking their work without permission or compensation. Didn't take it. We're already doing the thing here. After a blizzard of lawsuits and perhaps some legislative reform, a new equilibrium emerges, accommodating the new technology and protecting copyright holders. Owners. But, and notice, again, it's copyright owners. It's not artists. It's not authors. Someone else can buy the copyright to something that you created. Come on now. Yeah, maybe a minute. But as with so much involving artificial intelligence, this time is different. Generative AI has the potential to significantly increase the productivity and quality of creative human labor. AI-powered machines that will enable creators to generate high-quality content at dramatically lower costs are within reach. The creative workplace will never be the same. In the face of this unprecedented, we did it, Pharaoh. We found the unprecedented. In the face of this unprecedented challenge, copyright law cannot evolve to create a balanced outcome. Generative AI technology is not a means of mass reproduction and distribution of already created content. Rather, content companies and the creators who work with or for them will use it to create genuinely new content. As a result, the deeper and longer term conflict involving generative AI does not pit technology companies against content owners. It pits the content owners against their own workers and suppliers. It's the meme, right? The astronauts always has been. The contested terrain in this labor management dispute lies outside the reach of copyright law. Copyright law has an important role to play in the coming transition, but a balanced solution must come from elsewhere. AI companies are likely to prevail on their fair use defense. Copyright owners and organizations representing copyright owners, including the New York Times and the Authors Guild, have sued technology companies for using their works to train AI models without consent or compensation. The technology companies, including OpenAI and Anthropic, say their copying is fair use. Their application of this statutory defense against a charge of copyright infringement rests on the grounds that their copying is necessary to create a new product, a generative AI model that does not compete with the copied material. The judge in the New York Times case recently rejected a motion to dismiss the infringement charges, and unless the parties settle, that case will at least proceed to trial and judgment. While the outcome is far from certain, it seems reasonably clear that the AI companies have the better case. Tech companies do make intermediate copies of works with the purpose of creating a new product, a large language model, that can be used to generate output of the same general kind as the works that were used as input. But, except in the rare case of output that is substantially similar to one of the input works, the outputs of these models do not compete with the specific works copied by putting in circulation exact duplicates of them. Pelham King. As I know from the Atlantic's useful tool that searches through material used to train Meta's AI, my book, Regulating Digital Industries, was uploaded to a pirate website and subsequently ingested in its entirety to help construct Meta's Llama 3 model. Some people might steal my book from the pirate website, and that is clearly infringement. but no one is going to Llama 3 to obtain my book rather than buying it online. In this respect, the market for my work has not been harmed by Meta's development of this new tool, and the world now has a useful new piece of technology. That's a surprisingly adult Mark McCarthy. Mark McCarthy. In this case, Meta might be vulnerable. What did you miss? Missed everything. In this case, Meta might be vulnerable to a challenge that the company had not lawfully obtained the training data as it was downloaded from a pirate website. When an AI company lawfully does obtain data freely available on the open internet, this objection would not apply. Cool. I look forward to the day when GTA 6 drops. AI companies seem to be engaged in fair use in ingesting lawfully obtained copyrighted works to train their models, since the use is transformative and does not create copies of works that compete with the copyrighted works in the training data. Of course, a court could determine that AI models more generally harm the market for copyrighted work of the same general type as the works used to train them. If the people can use AI models to write books, then an author might use AI to write a different book on regulating digital industries, and it might be superior to mine and take sales from me. So, or my next book on AI ethics and policy might have to compete against an author who used AI to generate a book on the same topic. Because his use of AI models might diminish the market for my current book and my hypothetical next book, the court could conclude that the non consensual and uncompensated use of my existing published work to create AI models is not fair use. And the same argument would apply to any other copyrighted works. Legal scholar James Grimmelman, for one, suggests that such an expensive ruling would be consistent with copyright law and policy. But it seems to be highly unlikely the courts will go there. Copyright is aimed at preventing the mass reproduction and distribution of existing content to allow authors an economic reward from creating this content. It seems a stretch to say that copyright law extends to protecting existing books from competition with other books on the same topic, or to preserve the market for future unwritten books which may never exist. Yes. Okay. I'm with you. I am with you. Copyright transparency laws are premature and might never be necessary. One implication of the unresolved nature of the fair use defense for using copyrighted works in training AI models is that the various transparency measures under consideration at the federal and state level are premature. In April of 2024, then Representative Adam Schiff. Yeah. Especially like I have a bunch of respect for someone who says I have a book, it's in the training data, and I think it's fair use. Introduced HR 7913, the Generative AI Copyright Disclosure Act of 2024, which would require AI model developers to submit a notice to the Copyright Register containing a sufficiently detailed summary of any copyrighted works used to train their models. 5379, the Transparency and Responsibility for Artificial Intelligence Networks Act introduced in November of 24 by Senator Peter Welch, Democrat of Vermont, would have required AI model developers to disclose all their copyright works used to train an AI model to content companies. Both bills are likely to be reintroduced this year. A bill introduced in the California legislature in February and as amended by the Committee on Privacy and Consumer Protection in March 2025 would require developers of AI models to create an appropriate content fingerprint for each work used in training to let the content community know how to create fingerprints using the same technology and then to respond to identification requests using this technology. The problem with these measures is that they presuppose that the fair use defense has failed. If training on copyright works without permission is fair use, then there is no purpose in these required disclosures. There would be no infringement and therefore no need for required disclosures to allow owners to pursue the copyright claims. AI companies and copyright owners would have wasted substantial time and resources creating useless transparency systems. It is possible to imagine other purposes for requiring transparency of training data, such as conducting bias audits, detecting privacy invasions, or assessing the likelihood that the output data will be factually accurate. But then the transparency requirement should be part of a larger requirement focused on ensuring AI fairness, privacy, and accuracy rather than a freestanding obligation. AI companies' fair use defense also might fail, but in that eventuality, Congress will want to establish a revised copyright regime to balance the needs of AI developers and content owners. To take form of a compulsory license, as discussed in the notice of inquiry from the Copyright Office in 23, an opt-out regime such as that under consideration in the UK, or whatever legal changes such as antitrust exemptions as suggested by the Authors Guild that would be needed to enable content owners to form collective rights organizations to bargain with AI companies for comprehensive rights to use copyrighted content for AI training. But even if the fair use defense fails and copyright owners want to assert their rights against AI companies, transparency measures might not be necessary. AI companies typically ingest everything they can get their hands on to train their models, so it would be reasonable for courts to adopt a rebuttal presumption that they copied specific works if these works were accessible online. As part of its copyright reform, Congress could adopt this rebuttal presumption of copying for AI training if a work appeared on the internet somewhere. An elaborate and expensive identification system might prove to be unnecessary for copyright owners to assert their rights. There's an interesting question, like under an idea that some restriction on the fair use, if it's determined it's not fair use, some restriction on the use of a copyrighted work as part of this thing. So I'm an AI company and I can't download LibGen, right? Which is one of the biggest of the online library data sets. Okay, can't use that. But I use publicly available stuff on the internet. It's just out there on the internet. Open accessible. And in the course of scraping the internet. And again, let's say that this particular website that I'm about to refer to didn't update their robot TXT to say you can't scrape us. They're fine with getting scraped, and the AI company scrapes this website. And this website happens to be hosting a copyrighted work. And then down the road, some AI sleuth finds this work in the training data. Who is responsible? Do you have to establish a chain of custody for every piece of data that exists in your data set? If so, conceivably that could, it would definitely increase the size of the data set. So then there's more storage on the internet being devoted to record keeping, right? Not for any value, but just to make sure the chain of custody. I don't know, man. I don't know. All right. I am going to move on from this because we are like a third of the way through it, but I'm going to post it here. And of course, it will be in the Discord and in the Substack later. But yeah, this is what we call a fair and nuanced take. We talked a little about AI and gaming yesterday. And now from the Financial Times, will AI be the hero or villain of gaming? For players, it could turn games into living worlds, but many developers believe machine learning is no match for human-crafted experiences. Video games have introduced us to some of the greatest AI villains ever conceived. In System Shock, there was Shodan. Imagine Kubrick's HAL 9000 with a god complex. A space station computer which loses its moral directives and begins conducting horrific experiments on humans. Portal introduced the sarcastic AI GLaDOS, who gloats and taunts the player while leading them through a series of deadly tests. Then there's the rogue AI Hades in Horizon Zero Dawn, who trains an army of robot dinosaurs to wipe out all life on Earth. Hard to get more extravagantly nefarious than that. Yet, among people who actually make games, the attitude towards AI isn't so clear-cut. The latest AI technology is threatening to upend game design just as it has provoked existential reckonings in the worlds of music and film, inciting what one expert described as a civil war within game development. The gaming world has not yet decided whether, in our timeline, AI will be the hero or the villain. Gaming is deeply intertwined with cutting-edge technology. Developers are always looking for new tools to make their games sophisticated. The concept of AI is not new in gaming. In fact, the term has been used for decades to describe a set of program rules that govern gameplay elements, such as movements and the behavior of non-player characters. This has been renamed classical AI to avoid confusion with newer technologies such as machine learning, where programs learn from data to solve tasks, and its fuzzy new subcategory, generative AI, which can create text, images, and other assets. Some in the gaming world have been quick to trumpet these technologies' revolutionary capabilities. EA's CEO Andrew Wilson says that AI is the very core of our business, while Jack Busser, user, director for games at Google Cloud, wrote that the technology will be the biggest change to the industry of games since the introduction of real-time 3D graphics. But given that the industry is quick to embrace a new craze, not long ago it was a buzz with NFT games. No, it wasn't. That's just wrong. There were a handful of NFT games, and though they did take advantage of people, the majority of gamers knew the NFT scam when they saw it. Most of us did. Is this just another case of hype gone wild? Proponents argue that AI has the potential to revolutionize games from both the developer and player sides. For makers, they could create visual assets ranging from characters to 3D models, write code, storylines, dialogue, generate whole environments, and even synthesize vocal performances without the need for actors. For gamers, the prospect is both potentially more thrilling, but more of a distant prospect. A living game that could use generative AI to adjust landscapes and settings according to players' tastes and behaviors. An inhospitable desert might transform into a lush forest. When you're in need of calm, you could converse with computer characters using your own natural speech, and a game might adjust its difficulty when you're struggling in combat counters. Yes. Right? You ever had that super frustrating spot in a game, and so I'm watching Raptor Blue play BG3, Baldur's Gate 3 last night. And if you're not familiar, in Baldur's Gate 3, there's this one of the boss fights, one of the earlier boss fights, is you're fighting this dude and a bunch of other dudes and this demon thing that comes out of the pit, right? And I remember when I did my playthrough that portion was probably the most challenging fight in the game, right? It was like right there at the edge of the capabilities of my characters having leveled up to where they were at. My equipment and my characters and, my party composition. What up, Iggy? So like all of those things combined it was challenging, right? And I appreciated that. I had to do it a few times. I don't remember how many. And Raptor was having some challenges in accomplishing, that boss fight. And one of the phrases, and everyone was trying to help him and make suggestions and so on and so forth. And like I mentioned that I'd had challenges, that I found it the most challenging fight in the game. And somebody said something along the lines that, it can be, basically a run killer if you're not adequately, can't remember, I don't want to say prepared. It wasn't prepared. There's a thing, okay. One of the reasons I loathe World of Warcraft, and by extension, games like Diablo 4, any game that has a build, right? I am, like, the minute that I understand that it's a build-based game, I'm out. I'm done. I lose interest like so fast. Because if there's a required, like, oh, this is the best, right? And then there's the build, and you do it this way if you want to do the. Because even if I don't, right? Even if I choose not to participate in your build system, your build playing is going to change the meta of the game, and the publisher has to respond and tweak the game in response to your build playing. You're min-maxing this fucking game, making casual players like myself less able to engage with it because they tweaked all the shit so that it's more of a challenge for you. And that's what World of Warcraft is, right? Like, oh, when people talk about, oh, it's my whatever build, well, then what do you do when you play the game? Right? You're not doing anything. You're just, like you can just set up macros and shit and then just push a button and like I'm all for automation, baby, but like, what are you doing? Is this fun for you? To just cycle through and it's like, I got to do this and I got to do this and I got to do this and what up, Brad? So yeah. And that was something I liked about playing Baldur's Gate 3 is that I did not feel that I was trapped in a particular build in order to, defeat the bad guy. I want to be able to play the game in, I understand that. What up, X1011? X1011. I understand there's a balance. It can't just be about my ability to play the game my way, right? It needs to be about playing the game in at least some kind of confined way, like you can't play Super Mario Brothers, it requires you to run and jump and, at least theoretically bop Goombas and shit like that, right? Like there are certain things that are inherently part of the game that limit the number of options that you have. But as we get these bigger and bigger sandboxy kind of games, having more options, being able to play the game my way, or at least feel that I'm playing the game my way, is, like that's what people want, right? They want their experience. I don't know. But that's how I just feel about builds. And that's something that theoretically the future gaming AIs could do, right? Like where you're playing and you're having a good time and then you end up at a boss fight and you're like playing it, you played it 10 times or whatever and you just can't win. Then maybe it gives you an ally, or maybe it gives you less bad guys or whatever. Just eliminate the idea of walkthrough. I understand the utility of walkthroughs, but the very fact that there's a walkthrough says that there's like a way to play the game kind of thing. The game should teach me, like, if there's some weird thing hidden in a weird fucking space, there it should direct me in that. What up, Pitsy? Did I hear the latest cool science news? Yes, but which one are you talking about? I don't know, baby. I want natural conversations. They discovered a conductive bacteria. You got a link? A conductive bacteria sounds wild. Thank you. You know when you're playing a game and you get the dialogue tree, right? Like when you're in like in Fable or Knights of the Old Republic, any of those kind of games, right? You're having a conversation, right? So I'm walking along and I meet Pitsy, and Pitsy says something to me, and I say I don't actually recall Pitsy. I remember like Wheels, and I'm probably conflating two different games, and I really want to play Fable again, and I might be misremembering. Anyways, Knights of the Old Republic I'm certain about. So I meet Pitsy, and I say something, I engage in the conversation with Pitsy, and Pitsy says something to me, and I get three options. I get the, I'm the nicest guy ever. I'm a total bastard. And I could care less about this conversation. Right? And it's just so like, like, what if I don't want to be the dark evil guy or the fucking angel of light and goodness? Right? But I want to like engage in the story. I want like a more nuanced take. I should be able to just very good. I just should be able to at this point in time. I mean, come on, it's 2025. Scientists discover electricity conducting bacteria with nickel-based fibers. Conducting electricity is rare among living organisms. It is. It's very rare. Scientists have discovered a new species of cable bacteria that uses distinctive nickel-based fibers to conduct electricity, revealing key insights into its evolutionary history. This discovery offers potential for new bioelectronic applications and environmental cleanup technologies. So yeah, like we we watch the videos with the biohybrids and the biological computers and everything else. This could assist with that. It's just wild. We live in a really wild time. Findings published in the journal Applied and Environmental Microbiology described how this cable bacterium forms long filaments by connecting rod-shaped cells end to end with a shared outer membrane. These filaments can stretch several centimeters, acting as natural electrical wiring within the sediment. The bacteria's unique conductivity is not just a biological curiosity. It plays a critical role in optimizing their metabolism by enabling long-distance electron transport. New species seems to be a bridge, an early branch with the Ca Electrothrix clade, which suggests it could provide new insights into how these bacteria evolved and how they might function in different environments. Huh. Yeah. Yeah. And there's another thing. Like, we talk about 3D printing, but what if I can just, like, biological up the new architecture for the AI, right? Grown in a lab kind of thing. Also, their design of a highly conductive nickel protein can possibly inspire new bioelectronics. Yeah. Self-healing chips. It's just a wild time to be alive. Wild time to be alive. And it's a wild time for me to raid y'all out of here. Kensai. You got here just in time to get on the bus. I joined the speaking of, with the for Mushroom Gang, right? If you're not in the Mushroom Gang, get in the Mushroom Gang. We got a little mushroom family and everything. I got to do the what you call it, the 2 hours of playing the game on stream. I'm going to do that sometime later today. I don't know exactly when. So if anybody wants to come by and hang out while playing the Mushroom Game, you can see the Mushroom Game if you haven't seen it already. And what we gonna do? Great, Emma. So yeah, that'll be later today. If you want to see more of my charming face, but not the Mushroom Game, I'll be back tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. And tomorrow evening at 5 p.m. Eastern, in which we'll do the videos. Subscribe to my Substack, like, subscribe, hit that bell to stay notified. Do all the things in all the places, because I'm delicious. And in the meantime, drink your water, eat some food, take your meds if you've forgotten. Always remember that Shuggy loves you. So do I. Be great.